The massive viewing window of Deep Space Repair Station 42 offered a spectacular view of Earth below. Chief Engineer Tom Walker stood with his arms crossed, watching as yet another alien ship limped toward the station's main docking bay. This one looked different from the usual traders and merchants. Its hull design was more advanced, with smooth lines that seemed to defy normal space physics. Another one for the collection, Tom muttered to himself, taking a sip from his coffee mug. The station's AI announced the incoming vessel's details through the overhead speakers. Approaching vessel identified as merchant-class ship from the Proxima Trading Alliance. Severe quantum drive damage detected. Requesting emergency docking clearance. Tom checked his tablet, reviewing the ship's preliminary scans. The quantum drive readings were worse than he'd seen in months. According to the data, the ship had already visited 3 of the most advanced repair stations in the galaxy. All had declared the drive beyond repair. He smiled. The aliens always came here as a last resort, and they always left with their ships running better than new. The repair station itself was a marvel of human engineering, not because it was the most advanced, but because it was the most adaptable. While alien repair stations specialized in specific technologies, the humans had built Station 42 to handle anything that came their way. The main repair bay looked more like an old Earth mechanic's shop than a space-age facility, with tools ranging from simple wrenches to advanced quantum analyzers. As Tom made his way to the docking bay, his team was already preparing for the new arrival. They cleared space in Bay 7, their designated impossible case area. The bay's walls were lined with shelves containing parts from 100 different worlds, along with plenty of Earth-made components that had proven surprisingly useful in alien repairs. The ship's landing was smooth despite its damaged state. As the airlock cycled, Tom studied the vessel's exterior. The quantum drive housing showed signs of stress fractures, typical of a drive that had been pushed too hard for too long. What wasn't typical was the strange crystalline growth pattern around the housing seams. The airlock door opened with a soft hiss, and out stepped the ship's captain. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer in the bay's bright lights. Its 4 eyes blinked independently as it took in the relatively primitive-looking repair bay. "Welcome to Station 42, Tom said, stepping forward with an easy smile. "I'm Chief Engineer Walker. We got your distress signal." The alien captain's translation device processed Tom's words, then responded in a slightly metallic voice. "Chief Engineer, I am Captain Rel. 3 repair stations have already declared my ship's quantum drive beyond salvation. I was told this human station, might be able to help." Tom walked over to the quantum drive housing, running his hand along the crystalline formations. The alien captain watched nervously. Most species would never dream of touching such sensitive equipment without running at least a dozen diagnostic scans first. "Tell me what happened," Tom said, pulling an old-fashioned mechanical stethoscope from his pocket. The alien's eyes widened at the sight of such primitive technology. "We were caught in a gravity wake near the Centauri trading routes. The drive started making unusual sounds, then the efficiency dropped to critical levels. The automated repair systems couldn't correct it, and none of the standard diagnostic protocols could identify the problem." Tom pressed the stethoscope against different points on the drive housing, closing his eyes to listen. After a few moments, he chuckled. "Well, I've got good news and better news. The good news is, we can fix this. The better news is, it's not as bad as those other stations thought." Captain Rel's silver skin rippled with what might have been hope. "How can you be so sure without running a full diagnostic sweep?" Tom tapped the drive housing with a wrench, producing a hollow ring. "Because sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Your quantum drive isn't dead. It's just got a mechanical issue that's throwing off all the automated systems. The crystal growth is a symptom, not the cause." He turned to his team, who were already gathering their tools. "All right, folks, let's show our guest why they call us the miracle workers. We're going to need the quantum containment field, and somebody get me a good old-fashioned torque wrench." The alien captain watched in fascination as the humans began their work, their approach so different from anything he'd seen before. Perhaps the rumors were true. These humans really did have a special touch when it came to repairs. Captain Rel watched in horror as Tom and his repair team began manually disassembling the quantum drive's outer casing. No other repair station in the galaxy would dare to open a quantum drive without running at least 3 days of detailed scans first. Chief Engineer Walker, Rel's translator, crackled with anxiety. Is this safe? The quantum core could destabilize if... Don't worry, Tom said, carefully removing another panel. We've got containment fields in place. Besides, sometimes you need to open the hood to see what's really wrong. He paused, realizing the captain might not understand the car reference. It's an old Earth saying. Means you have to look inside to fix the problem. The repair bay hummed with activity. Instead of the usual automated repair drones that Rel was used to seeing, human technicians worked with their hands, using a mix of advanced tools and surprisingly simple ones. A young technician named Mike was actually using a small mirror on a stick to peek into a hard-to-reach corner of the drive assembly. Found something, boss, Mike called out. Looks like we got crystal growth inside the temporal manifold. No wonder the automated systems couldn't fix it. They're programmed to replace the whole unit if there's any sign of crystallization. Tom nodded, grabbing a portable scanner. Unlike the massive diagnostic machines at alien repair stations, this one was barely larger than his hand. This is why we like to actually look at things, he explained to Rel. Your automated systems are amazing, but they can only follow their programming. Humans, we improvise. The captain's silver skin rippled with what might have been confusion. But the crystal formations, they're impossible to remove without damaging the quantum matrix. That's why replacement is the only option. Tom grinned, reaching for what looked like a simple toolbox. That's what everyone thinks. But we humans figured out something interesting about these crystals. He pulled out a small device that looked more like a tuning fork than a repair tool. They're sensitive to certain frequencies. Hit them with the right vibration. He activated the device. A soft hum filled the air, and before Rel's 4 eyes, the crystals began to simply fall away from the manifold surfaces. Impossible, Rel whispered. Nah, just physics, Tom replied. We discovered this by accident. One of our technicians was humming an old Earth song while working on a similar problem. The crystals started vibrating. Took us a while to figure out the exact frequency, but now it's just another tool in our box. As the team worked, Tom explained their process to the fascinated captain. See, most alien repair stations rely completely on their automated systems. They're efficient, sure, but they can't think creatively. Humans, we combine the best of both worlds. We use advanced diagnostics, but we also trust our instincts and experience. Mike called out from behind the drive assembly. Boss, the primary quantum coil is showing signs of stress. Standard procedure would be to replace it. Tom walked over, studied the coil for a moment, then shook his head. Nah, we can rewind it. Get me the magnetic field modulator and some of that special copper wire we got from the miners on Mars. Rel's translator made a sound that might have been a gasp. Rewind a quantum coil. With primitive materials. That's crazy, Tom finished, already starting the delicate process. Maybe, but Earth copper, when treated properly, has some unique properties. We've successfully rewound dozens of these coils. They usually end up working better than the originals. The repair bay continued to buzz with activity as the team worked. Each technician moved with purpose, combining advanced alien technology with simple human tools in ways that would make most alien engineers faint. They even had an old Earth radio playing soft music in the background. Something about improving workplace morale, Tom had explained. As the work progressed, Rel noticed something else unusual. The humans constantly communicated with each other, sharing observations, asking questions, making suggestions. It was so different from the silent, automated repair bays he was used to. Almost done with the primary rewind, Tom announced, his hand steady as he worked with the delicate coil. Mike, start running power-up sequences on the secondary systems. Let's make sure everything's playing nice together before we move to the quantum matrix. Rel watched in amazement as the humans continued their work, their unconventional methods challenging everything he thought he knew about spacecraft repair. Perhaps there was more to these Earth engineers than the galaxy had realized. 2 weeks after Captain Rel's successful repair, Deep Space Repair Station 42 was busier than ever. Tom stood at his usual spot by the viewing window, watching as 3 alien ships waited in the queue for docking clearance. His tablet hadn't stopped beeping with new repair requests since Rel had spread the word about the miracle workers at the human repair station. "Sir," the station's AI announced, "2 more ships have just entered the system. Both are reporting quantum drive issues." Tom took a long sip of his coffee. Looks like Captain Rel really talked us up at the trading posts. The repair bay that had once seemed too large for a single station now barely had enough space for all the alien vessels seeking human expertise. Ships of all shapes and sizes filled the docking areas, their crews watching in fascination as human technicians worked their magic. Mike approached Tom with a tablet displaying the day's repair schedule. "Boss, you might want to see this. Remember that trick we used on Captain Rel's quantum coil? Well, someone posted about it on the galactic repair networks. The video's gone viral." Tom checked the screen, watching a recording of their repair work. The video showed human hands carefully rewinding the quantum coil while alien text scrolled across the screen, explaining the process. The view count was in the millions. "Great," Tom chuckled. "Now every repair station in the galaxy will know our secrets." "That's the funny part," Mike replied. "They're trying to copy our methods, but they can't get it right. Turns out there's more to it than just following the steps. You need that human touch." In Bay 4, a new repair was underway. A massive cargo hauler had arrived with what its crew claimed was irreparable damage to its gravity generators. The ship's captain, a tall insectoid being, watched nervously as Tom's team got to work. "Your diagnostic systems say the generator core needs complete replacement," Tom explained to the worried captain. "But look here." He pointed to a series of small fluctuations in the power readings. "This isn't a core problem. It's more like, well, imagine having a rock in your shoe. Small problem, big impact." The insectoid captain's antennae twitched in confusion. Other repair stations insisted on full replacement. Very expensive. Many credits. Tom smiled, pulling out a simple wrench and a small device of clearly human design. "Watch this. Mike, give me a hand with the access panel." Together, they removed the panel, revealing the complex inner workings of the alien gravity generator. Tom reached in with his device, a modified earth mining scanner he'd adapted for repair work. The scanner screen lit up with data that made him nod knowingly. "Just as I thought. You've got mineral buildup in the gravity field projectors. Automated systems rate it as core failure, but it's more like blocked arteries." He looked at the confused alien captain. "Sorry, human medical reference. Point is, we can clean this out without replacing anything." As they worked, other alien crews gathered to watch. The sight of humans using their hands-on approach, combining simple tools with advanced technology, was drawing quite an audience. Word was spreading through the galaxy's trading networks faster than a quantum wave. If you wanted something fixed right, you went to the humans. "Chief Engineer," the station's AI interrupted, "we're receiving a priority message from the Galactic Engineering Council." Tom raised an eyebrow. The Council was the highest authority on spacecraft engineering standards in the known galaxy. They rarely contacted individual repair stations. "They're requesting detailed documentation of our repair methods," the AI continued. "Apparently, our success rate has caught their attention." Mike looked up from his work, grinning. "Should we tell them about the time you fixed that plasma injector with duct tape and paper clips?" "Maybe we'll leave that one out of the official report," Tom laughed. He turned back to the insectoid captain, who was watching in amazement as the gravity generator's power readings returned to normal. There you go. Good as new, and at a fraction of the replacement cost. The captain's translator crackled with excitement. Amazing. We'll tell others. Humans understand machines in special way. Tom nodded, already looking at the next repair request on his tablet. The station's reputation was growing, and with it, humanity's standing in the galactic community. Not bad for a species that still occasionally used duct tape in their repairs. The emergency alert jolted Tom awake at 3 a.m. station time. Red lights flashed throughout his quarters as the station's AI spoke with unusual urgency. Chief Engineer Walker, priority alert. Military vessel approaching. Severe system failures reported. They're requesting immediate assistance. Tom was already pulling on his work uniform. What kind of ship? Class A battle cruiser from the Centauri Defense Fleet. Their neural interface navigation system is failing. Multiple crew members are reporting severe headaches and disorientation. That got Tom's attention. Neural interface systems were among the most advanced and dangerous technologies in the galaxy. When they failed, they could cause serious harm to their users. The massive warship came into view as Tom reached the observation deck. It was easily 3 times the size of any vessel they'd serviced before, its dark hull decorated with the prestigious markings of the Centauri fleet. Mike was already there, looking worried. "Boss, this is big," Mike said, handing Tom a tablet with the initial scans. "If we mess this up, we could have an interstellar incident on our hands." The Centauri don't take kindly to failures. The ship's commander, Admiral Vax, met them in the main repair bay. Unlike the merchant captains they usually dealt with, he carried himself with rigid military precision. His crystalline skin reflected the emergency lights, creating an intimidating display. Chief Engineer Walker, the Admiral's translator, spoke with clipped tones. "Our neural navigation system began malfunctioning during a routine patrol. 3 of our best repair stations have failed to resolve the issue. My crew is suffering. Fix this, or diplomatic consequences will follow." Tom studied the preliminary scans. The neural interface readings were chaotic, showing patterns he'd never seen before. 20 crew members were in the ship's medical bay, their brains struggling to disconnect from the malfunctioning system. "Tell me exactly when this started," Tom asked, already assembling his diagnostic tools. "During a standard warp jump," Admiral Vax replied. "The system began producing unusual feedback. Our technicians say the neural matrices are degrading, but they can't determine why." Tom nodded, thinking. Neural interface technology was notoriously complex. It didn't just connect to a ship's systems, it connected to the crew's minds. Alien repair stations typically treated it as purely technological problem, but humans knew better. The brain was involved, and that made things personal. "Mike, get me the portable neural scanner from Medical Bay 2, Tom called out. "And bring that old EEG machine we kept from the Earth Hospital surplus." Admiral Vax's translator made a sound of disbelief. "You plan to diagnose advanced neural technology with primitive human medical equipment? Sometimes the old ways see things the new ways miss," Tom replied, setting up his equipment. "Your neural interface doesn't just connect to the ship, it connects to people. And humans know a thing or two about how brains work." The repair team worked through the night. While other stations had focused solely on the technological aspects, Tom's team took a different approach. They monitored both the ship's systems and the crew's brain patterns, looking for connections others had missed. "There," Tom pointed to a pattern on the EEG display. "See how the brain waves sync with the ship's neural feedback? That's not normal. The system's trying to establish too strong a connection. It's overwhelming the crew's natural neural patterns." Admiral Vax leaned forward, his crystalline features reflecting the screen's glow. "Can you fix it?" "Yes, but you're not going to like how," Tom said. "We need to temporarily disconnect the entire neural interface system and restart it with new baseline parameters. No repair station has tried this because the risks are high, but it's the only way to break the feedback loop. The Admiral's translator was silent for a long moment. The consequences of failure will be less severe than leaving your crew connected to a malfunctioning system, Tom finished. I've seen what happens when human neural tech goes wrong. Trust me, we need to act fast. After a tense discussion with his superiors, Admiral Vax gave the go-ahead. The entire repair station seemed to hold its breath as Tom's team prepared for the most delicate operation they'd ever attempted. Success would cement humanity's reputation in the galaxy. Failure could start a diplomatic crisis. Tom looked at his team, then at the worried alien crew. All right, people. Let's show them why they come to humans when nothing else works. The repair bay was silent except for the soft beeping of monitoring equipment. Tom and his team had spent the last 6 hours preparing for the complete neural interface shutdown. Admiral Vax stood rigid, watching as the humans worked with a mix of advanced tools and surprisingly simple equipment. Final checks complete, Mike announced, looking up from his tablet. EEG patterns recorded for all affected crew members. Backup systems are ready. Tom nodded, his face serious. All right, let's do one last visual inspection before we power down. He pulled out his trusted mechanical inspection mirror, the same simple tool that had helped solve countless complex problems before. As he examined the neural interface's main connection port, something caught his eye. Hold on a minute. He leaned in closer, adjusting his light. Mike, look at this. See that tiny mark on the primary connection? Mike peered through the magnifier. Is that wear and tear on a quantum-sealed connection? Not wear and tear, Tom said, his voice getting excited. It's physical damage. Microscopic, but it's there. He turned to Admiral Vax. You said this started during a warp jump. The Admiral's translator crackled. Correct. Standard procedure, nothing unusual. Tom was already pulling up the ship's maintenance records on his tablet. Except it wasn't standard, was it? Your logs show a micrometeorite impact just before the jump. Barely worth noting in the damage report. A negligible impact, the Admiral confirmed. Our shields absorbed 99.9% of the force. But that 0.1% was enough, Tom explained, growing more animated. The impact created a microscopic crack in the neural interface housing. During the warp jump, quantum fluctuations got through that crack. It's not the neural matrices degrading. They're being contaminated by quantum interference. The repair bay burst into activity. This wasn't just a solution. It was a completely new understanding of how neural interfaces could fail. The alien repair stations, with their reliance on automated diagnostics, had missed the physical damage entirely. Mike, get me the quantum field purifier. And that special sealant we developed for the mining ship's pressure hulls. Tom turned to the Admiral. We don't need to shut down the whole system. We just need to purify the quantum field and seal that crack. The Admiral's crystalline features shifted. This sealant, it can withstand neural interface energy fields. Better, Tom smiled. It's a human invention. We created it to fix microscopic cracks in deep space mining vessels. The material actually gets stronger when exposed to quantum fields. The repair team worked with practiced precision. They used the quantum purifier, a human modification of alien technology, to clean out the contaminated field patterns. Then came the delicate process of applying the sealant. Watch the neural pattern displays, Tom instructed as they worked. Almost immediately, the chaotic readings began to stabilize. In the medical bay, crew members reported their headaches diminishing. Admiral Vax studied the readings. The patterns, they're returning to normal parameters. How did every other repair station miss this? Because they were looking for a complex solution to what they thought was a complex problem, Tom explained, putting away his tools. Sometimes the biggest problems have the smallest causes. Humans learned that lesson centuries ago, fixing our own primitive machines. The final readings confirmed what they'd hoped. The neural interface was functioning perfectly again. The repair that other stations had declared impossible had taken the humans less than 7 hours to diagnose and fix. "Your crew should be back to normal within a few hours," Tom said, handing the Admiral a detailed report. "I'd recommend a full calibration check after a day of rest, but the system is actually running better than factory specifications now." The Admiral's translator was quiet for a moment. "The Centauri Defense Fleet will hear of this. Your unconventional methods have proven most effective." As the repair team cleaned up their tools, Mike grinned at Tom. "Not bad for a bunch of humans with simple tools." Tom laughed, but his eyes were already on his tablet, reviewing the next repair request. Simple tools, creative minds, and a willing to look at the little things. That's the human way. The news of their success with the Centauri warship spread quickly through the galaxy. Deep Space Repair Station 42 had done more than just fix a complex problem. They'd shown that sometimes the most advanced civilizations could learn something from humanity's practical approach to problem-solving. 1 month after the successful repair of the Centauri warship, Deep Space Repair Station 42 looked very different. The repair bays were still busy, but now they were filled with both human technicians and alien engineers, working side by side. Tom walked through Bay 3, where a tall, crystalline engineer from the Centauri fleet was learning to use a simple wrench. The sight still made him smile. Some of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations were now eager to learn what they called the human way. "Remember," Tom said to the alien engineer, "feel the resistance in the bolt. Tools aren't just about force. They're about feedback." The Centauri engineer's translator hummed. "Strange concept. Our automated systems never required feeling." "That's exactly why they miss things," Mike chimed in from the next bay, where he was teaching a group of insectoid engineers how to diagnose engine problems using sound. "Machines can measure, but they can't experience." The station's teaching area, originally a small briefing room, had been expanded into a full training center. Alien engineers from dozens of species came to learn human repair techniques. The sight of advanced beings taking notes while Tom explained the basics of mechanical diagnosis would have been unthinkable just a few months ago. "Today's lesson," Tom announced to a room full of alien students, "is about improvisation." He held up a damaged power coupling from a quantum drive. "Sometimes you don't have the exact replacement part. That's when you need to think creatively." The aliens watched in fascination as Tom demonstrated how to modify standard components to work in non-standard ways. A Centauri engineer raised his crystalline hand. "But modified parts void safety protocols," the translator spoke. "How can you be certain of reliability?" Tom smiled. "That's where human ingenuity comes in. We test, we observe, we adapt. Every modification we make is thoroughly checked. Sometimes our solutions work better than the originals." In another section of the station, Mike was running what they called the hands-on lab. Alien engineers, used to giving orders to automated systems, were learning to actually touch and feel the machinery they worked with. "Close your eyes," Mike instructed a group of engineers. "Now run your hands over these engine parts. Feel the differences in temperature, the vibrations, the texture. These sensations tell you things that scanners might miss." Some of the alien students found it difficult at first. Their civilizations had relied on automation for so long that the concept of physical interaction with machinery seemed primitive. But as they learned, they began to understand the advantages of the human approach. "Remarkable," an alien engineer said after successfully diagnosing a fault by touch. The vibration pattern indicated the misalignment before any scanners detected it. The station's reputation continued to grow. What had started as a repair facility was becoming the galaxy's premier engineering school. Even the most advanced civilizations were sending their engineers to learn from the humans. "The interesting thing," Tom said during an evening briefing, "is how this exchange of knowledge goes both ways. We're learning about alien technology, while they're learning our methods. It's making everyone better." The station's AI interrupted with a notification. "Chief Engineer, the Galactic Engineering Council has submitted a proposal. They want to establish permanent human-led training facilities at major repair stations across the galaxy. Tom looked around at his team, now a mix of humans and aliens working in perfect harmony. What do you all think? Ready to spread the human touch to the stars? The response was unanimous. Even the alien engineers nodded enthusiastically, their various translation devices creating a chorus of agreement. Later that evening, Tom stood at his favorite viewing window, watching Earth rotate below. Mike joined him, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Pretty amazing, isn't it?" Mike said, handing Tom a cup. "A few months ago, they thought we were primitive for using hand tools. Now they're learning that sometimes the simplest approaches are the best." Tom nodded, taking a sip of his coffee. "That's the real lesson we're teaching them. It's not just about repairs. It's about combining the best of both worlds. Their advanced technology with our practical experience." Through the window, they could see another group of alien ships approaching the station. But now they weren't just coming for repairs. They were coming to learn, to share, and to understand the unique human perspective that had revolutionized spacecraft maintenance across the galaxy. 1 year after the first desperate alien ship limped into Deep Space Repair Station 42, the facility had become the center of a galactic revolution in spacecraft maintenance. Tom stood on the newly constructed observation deck, watching as ships from across the galaxy moved smoothly through the expanded docking bays. The station had grown to 3 times its original size. What once was a simple repair facility now housed the Galactic Institute of Human Engineering, the most prestigious technical school in known space. Chief Engineer Walker, the station's AI, announced, "Your presence is requested in the graduation ceremony." Tom smiled, straightening his formal uniform. Today marked the first graduation of alien engineers trained in human repair methods. The main assembly hall was packed with beings from dozens of worlds, all wearing the distinctive blue and silver uniforms of the Institute. A year ago, Tom began his speech, looking out at the diverse crowd. "Most of you thought humans were primitive because we still used hand tools, because we trusted our senses as much as our scanners, because we believed in the importance of actually touching the machines we fixed." The crowd murmured in agreement, their various translation devices creating a soft symphony of acknowledgement. Today, you understand that true expertise isn't just about having the most advanced technology. It's about understanding the soul of the machine. Tom picked up an old wrench from the podium. This simple tool, combined with human intuition and alien technology, has helped us solve problems that stumped the most advanced diagnostic systems in the galaxy. In the front row, Mike sat next to Captain Rill, who had returned to become one of their first students. The silver-skinned alien who once watched in horror as humans manually disassembled his quantum drive now taught other aliens about the importance of hands-on experience. "But this isn't just about repairs anymore," Tom continued. "What we've created here is a bridge between different ways of thinking. Human creativity and alien technology. Simple tools and advanced science. Together, we're better than we ever were apart." The ceremony concluded with each graduate receiving both a quantum data crystal containing their credentials and a simple Earth-made toolkit, a symbol of the fusion between human and alien engineering philosophies. After the ceremony, Tom walked through the station's bustling corridors. In Bay 5, a Centauri engineer was teaching a human technician about quantum field theory. In Bay 7, a human instructor showed an alien class how to diagnose engine problems by sound and touch. The exchange of knowledge flowed both ways. Message from Earth Central Command. The station's AI announced, "The proposal for 5 new human engineering institutes has been approved. Construction begins next month." Mike rushed up, grinning. "Did you hear? They're naming one after you. The Walker Institute of Applied Human Engineering on Alpha Centauri." Tom shook his head, embarrassed by the honor. "What about you?" "I heard the Galactic Engineering Council wants you to head up their new practical training division." "Times sure have changed," Mike laughed. "Remember when aliens thought we were crazy for using wrenches?" They reached Tom's favorite viewing window, where Earth shone blue and beautiful below. A steady stream of ships moved through space around the station, not just those needing repairs now, but vessels bringing new students, instructors, and ideas. Chief Engineer, a familiar voice called. Admiral Vax approached, his crystalline form gleaming. The neural interface safety protocol you developed has been adopted as the galactic standard. Every ship in the Centauri fleet now carries a human toolkit alongside its quantum diagnostic systems. Tom nodded, watching as a new group of alien students practiced using simple Earth tools on advanced machinery. The galaxy learned something important here, he said. Progress isn't always about creating more complex solutions. Sometimes it's about remembering the simple things that work. As the Earth's sun set in the distance, casting golden light across the repair base, Tom saw the future unfolding before him. Humans and aliens working together, combining the best of both worlds. Simple tools and advanced technology, experience and innovation. Deep Space Repair Station 42 had started a revolution, not with weapons or politics, but with wrenches, intuition, and the willingness to get their hands dirty. In doing so, they had earned humanity a unique and respected place among the stars. Well, Tom said, picking up a repair request from his tablet, let's get back to work. These ships won't fix themselves, and that's exactly how we like it.